Naruto is known for his iconic techniques like the Shadow Clone Jutsu and Rasengan, which are absolutely monstrous when mastered. But what if his signature was an even more broken technique that is actually a staple of the Uzumaki bloodline? In today's video, we'll explore what would happen if Naruto mastered the Flying Raijin technique. First things first, we need to understand what the Flying Raijin actually is, and how it was created. The Flying Raijin, or Hiraishin no Jutsu, is a space-time ninjutsu that was originally created by Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage. However, the technique was perfected by the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, whose use of the Flying Raijin during the Third Shinobi War earned him the nickname of Konoha's Yellow Flash. Here's how it works. The user marks a target with a special technique formula just by touching them, creating a permanent seal that can't be removed and doesn't fade even if the original user dies. Once you have that mark, you can instantly teleport to that location, no matter the distance. This technique is not just about being fast, it's about bending space and time itself, similar to controlled summoning jutsu. Minato used the technique to destroy entire squadrons during the Third Shinobi War by scattering marked kunai across entire battlefields. His targets wouldn't even see him coming. He'd appear behind enemy lines, strike, and teleport away before they could blink. The offensive potential here is incredible, because once you mark someone, they're basically done if you have a strong enough finishing move. But the Flying Raijin is a powerful defensive technique as well, since you can instantly escape any situation. Minato was able to dodge A's lightning release chakra mode, but more impressively, he even escaped Obito's Kamui by teleporting away. The Flying Raijin is also an interesting support technique, as it can teleport other objects as well, but this drains a ton of the user's chakra, so it needs to be used carefully. This actually makes the technique a great fit for Naruto, since he has some ungodly chakra reserves. But for our story to work, we need to establish how Naruto discovers the Flying Raijin. We know that Boruto developed a version of the Flying Raijin using his Otsutsuki teleportation technique, but that won't work in Naruto's case. Instead, picture this. A young Naruto is tricked into stealing a scroll of seals like in canon, but instead of just finding the multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu, he finds the Flying Raijin. Just like with the multiple Shadow Clone technique, Naruto's massive chakra pool becomes the perfect tool for learning the Flying Raijin, especially at first. Where normal shinobi would struggle with the technique formula seals, Naruto can brute force his way through with raw energy. He uses the Flying Raijin to teleport up to Mizuki and relentlessly attack him, overwhelming his former instructor in the same way he did in the original story. Through trial and error, marking kunai, accidentally teleporting into trees, and crashing into walls, Naruto figures out the technique in time for the Land of Waves arc. In canon, Naruto fights Zabuza and Haku, and it's a close call. But now imagine Naruto with the Flying Raijin. If Naruto manages to mark Zabuza's sword with the Flying Raijin formula, it's game over right there, because Zabuza's most powerful weapon immediately becomes a liability. Haku's demonic ice mirrors were only a problem because it was impossible to pin him down, but now Naruto could just teleport out of the technique using a marked kunai. The battle is probably just done in minutes, with Zabuza and Haku losing to Kakashi's team. The major story beats are the same, but there's a critical difference to the storyline. This arc marked the first point where Naruto accessed his Jinchuriki form to break through Haku's mirrors, but with the Flying Raijin, he's never pushed that far. The Chunin exams are also changed in this timeline, but Orochimaru is skilled enough to keep up with Naruto's Flying Raijin, and he still manages to place a curse seal on Sasuke and suppress the Nine-Tails chakra in Naruto. The real change occurs in the final phase of the Chunin exams, but not in Naruto's fight against Kiba, as his technique is pretty easily handled using Shadow Clones alone. When Naruto trains with Jiraiya, the Sannin recognizes the potential of the Flying Raijin, and they focus on coupling this technique with the Nine-Tails chakra instead of summoning. In canon, the match between Naruto and Neji is incredibly close, but the Flying Raijin gives Naruto an edge, as he's able to completely disappear from Neji's field of vision. This is an incredible advantage, as Byakugan users depend on being able to track their opponent's every movement, but in this timeline, Neji's gentle fist is almost neutralized. Even though Neji tries to close off Naruto's chakra points, he's unable to land his technique, and the battle actually becomes a one-sided stomp in Naruto's favor. Naruto begins to gain recognition as the potential next Yellow Flash of Konoha, but this is the point where Orochimaru attacks yet again, initiating the Konoha Crush. Having the Flying Raijin doesn't help Naruto against Kabuto's Genjutsu, so he can't get involved in the third Hokage's battle against Orochimaru, meaning that nothing changes here. The same goes for the search for Tsunade arc, as the Flying Raijin couldn't possibly make Naruto any more of a match for Kisame and Itachi. But things change when he learns the Rasengan from Jiraiya, because now Naruto's much better equipped for the Sasuke recovery mission. Remember their first major fight at the Valley of the End? This time, Naruto isn't trying to beat Sasuke. Instead, Naruto taps into Kurama's chakra after placing a technique formula seal on Sasuke. He transports both of them right back to the village with the Flying Raijin. This means that Sasuke fails to defect in the first half of the series and is practically forced to stay in the Hidden Leaf, at least for a few more months. However, Sasuke is furious. He feels like Naruto cheated, and that his friend just made him look weak in front of everyone. This means that Sasuke's resentment grows, and when he finally does manage to escape, he's even farther gone than before. But now let's move on to the events of Shippuden, where things become even more insane. When Naruto returns from training with Jiraiya, he's not just stronger, he's mastered the flying Raijin to near Minato levels. Naruto can mark multiple targets, chain teleports, and use variants like Guiding Thunder for defense, basically becoming a young version of the Fourth Hokage. We get to see the first major impacts of this in the Kazekage rescue mission, as in canon, chasing after the Akatsuki is tense and dangerous. With flying Raijin Naruto, he places his mark on Deidara's clothes when they battle, so when Naruto is fighting the clay clone and uses his technique, he's actually teleported to the real Deidara, who's escaping from the battleground. Now Naruto already outclasses Deidara at this point, and the Akatsuki is killed before he can continue. However, the rescue mission still technically fails, as the Konoha shinobi are unable to reach Gaara before Shukaku is extracted from him. Things heat up as the Sasuke situation continues to evolve, as when Naruto encounters Sasuke again, their dynamic has evolved. Sasuke's even more angry than usual, but Naruto can keep up with him now with his unmatchable speed. Their fights become mind games of who can control the battlefield. The outcome of the encounter with Sasuke still doesn't change though, with the battle coming to a stalemate and Orochimaru putting an end to it. The real change comes with Pain's assault, because Naruto's training as a defender of Konoha leads him to mark points within the village for easy access with the flying Raijin. Originally, Pain destroys the entire village with his 6 paths, but Naruto's flying Raijin lets him teleport to critical locations to counter Pain, while his summoned toads handle the rest. This means that Konoha suffers far fewer casualties, and Naruto slowly establishes his legacy as the village hero. The Akatsuki suppression continues as usual with no major changes, but Naruto makes his biggest impact so far in the Fourth Shinobi World War. Obito uses his dimensional warping to escape and create portals, but Naruto doesn't need to pursue, he just marks Obito, taking away his biggest advantage. With the entire Shinobi Alliance able to fight alongside a flying Raijin user, the war dynamics completely change as well. Madara's far less effective in this timeline, with Naruto becoming a coordinator of chaos. He warps the tailed beast bombs away, and teleports allies to flank enemies using the full potential of the Nine-Tails chakra. Even against Kaguya's dimension-shifting attacks, Naruto doesn't panic as he's used to warping between different dimensions. The war has far fewer casualties in this timeline, and Neji doesn't die because Naruto teleports him out of the blast. But here's the interesting tension. Because Naruto can solve problems so easily with flying Raijin, he becomes arrogant. Enemies learn to anticipate his teleport locations, and his over-reliance becomes a new weakness. Now we jump to Boruto, where adult Hokage Naruto is an absolute monster, but losing Kurama significantly weakens his flying Raijin by depleting his chakra reserves. When Momoshiki and other Otsutsuki invade, Naruto doesn't need to overexert Kurama's chakra, as he marks Boruto early in conflicts, warping his son to safety. But more importantly, countering the Otsutsuki becomes much easier as he can teleport the seals or lead his opponent into traps much easier if he has the right support. However, the Otsutsuki are more resistant to teleportation techniques than regular shinobi, and the flying Raijin slowly loses its effectiveness. The key turning point comes against Ishiki, because the flying Raijin simply isn't enough, and Naruto needs Baryon mode to keep up. But even without Kurama, Naruto remains a god-tier threat because he can appear and disappear at will. From antagonists like Code onwards, Naruto's flying Raijin stops being a wild card and just another tool in his arsenal. He's still an immensely powerful shinobi, but now it's time for the new generation to take the torch, with Boruto developing his own version of the flying Raijin as well. Instead of being the village's protector through pure power, Naruto becomes more of a strategist, holding everything together through teleportation and support. So what do you think of this version of Naruto? Would the flying Raijin detract from his other techniques instead of being a powerful addition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.